stuff in the parking lot, and so I went over and picked this thing up. Everything was marked down, very substantially, and some of the boxes were wet, and some of them weren't, but they were just all piled out there. And I don't remember this one being wet or having the packaging damaged on it, but anyway, now I got my glasses on. I'm going to look and see. Triple conversion hyperscan is what Radio Shack called the scheme on this one. So triple conversion. So yesterday we had our Stars auction in the city of Tustin, I guess it's actually in. A new church, a new venue, and really nice. The room was nice. The room's off to the side, a nice kitchen area. We had a nice setup with the big coffee, the commercial coffee, what do you call them? Coffee makers with the spigots on the front. And really good coffee, by the way. I forgot to ask who did the coffee, but it just seemed to have a great taste. Better than Starbucks I've had, I'll tell you that. Anyway, a nice venue and a pretty good turnout, maybe a little less than usual in terms of people and stuff there, but not so much as you'd notice in a big way. And not a lot of ham gear. I do remember a Heathkit Seneca, I think it was. And I was talking to somebody at the time this thing came up, but I did look at it when we had the preview. The 6 and 2 meter transmitter. I think that transmitter for a sideband used one of those beam deflection tubes, 73. I want to say 7360, one of those numbers, but I think that's what it used for the generated sideband. And as I recall, fairly low power on that thing. It was meant to be used with an amp, but a big, heavy, unit. And I do remember that. I don't remember what it went for, but I was a little surprised at that auction that some things that I thought would go for maybe would be put out for $20 and maybe get bid up to 40 or 50. Went for over 100. I was very surprised at the number of items that broke 100. Certainly things I would not have paid 100 for, but I guess if you really want it, or if you need it, or if you know somebody else who will give you more, you might just want to go out there and spring for the 100 and whatever it was bucks. Very lively crowd. Everybody was in good spirits, happy to see each other, and we had a nice luncheon. The same caterers who've done it many, many years now from the San Fernando Valley. I think that's where they're from. They came out and did the hamburgers and hot dogs and the stuff to go with it. So a very nice area to eat in, and just overall a very pleasant day. Everything went quite smoothly on the auction. They're using a new computer program to handle the bids and the payments, I guess. And I guess it all worked. I didn't hear anybody say anything otherwise. And but there was interesting stuff to see. There's always stuff I've never seen before. I saw a beautiful little kettle, and it looked like a little kettle and miniature radio. When I got it close to it, I realized it was an air purifier. And then one of our longtime past presidents and leaders in Stars, Barry D'Agostino, came up, and I said, "Barry, I thought this was a radio until I got up to it." He said, "Well, that cabinet was used for radio." I guess the company dual purposed it and also made some other things like his air purifier and this neat little kettle and cabinet. But just gorgeous stuff, just the patterning on it and everything. And a couple of the cattle and things did go for pretty good prices. I think the highest price we had the whole day was something like 350. So, and we've had auctions before where things have gone, higher than that. So anyway, but a very pleasant day. I'm glad I went. The place is easy to get to, easy to park, plenty of room for everything, and so a big success. And I hope that they do it again at this same venue. I'm sure unless something weird happens, they will. So that was Saturday, and now we're here today waiting for the rain again. What else is new? AA6CB, WA6YOS.
Very good, Jim. Thanks for that excellent rundown on the auction there. Let's go to Tom and him at AJ6TT.
Question for Tom. This is KU6X. Tom, can you hear me? I guess he's not listening to Santiago.
No, everybody's hearing you, Tom, on off of Santiago. And John was giving you a call there, KU6X. So apparently you weren't hearing him directly. Any comments, Tom?
He's got a KWM2, is that correct, Will?
Yes, yeah, he's got the KWM2, yes, that's Collins, that's correct. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, which crystals does he need?
10-meter ones.
Alrighty, I'll take a look and see if I have any.
Okay. He's going to look, see if he has any of the crystals for 10 meters there, Tom.
Yeah, tell Tom that those crystals were not terribly popular ones because those were in the DX band when that thing came out.
Yes, the Collins, when you originally got it, would have had 28.5 and above would have been the phone area there, Tom. Go ahead. Yeah, I know. No, there was a lot of CBUs that I did use Collins's on CB and would have those crystals. That was not unusual. I knew a number that did. So let me go on down the list here, Tom. Gary, WA7BIP. Don, K6DLP.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's finally Sunday. Well, as you can tell, Santiago's back up and running. Unfortunately, it was as simple as a network cable. But luckily, the boys went up there and took that while I scooted off to play in the snow. Oh, boy, that was not much fun. Took 2 days to get up to Sunset. And fix a different problem there. But anyway, so we're fully operational at Santiago. We got the normal 18 gig link, which goes down to another mountaintop to pick up our internet. And now the backup link is there. So if one or the other fails, hip hip hooray, we're not off the air. What else? My 6-meter antenna on the truck is working good. Well, I've definitely noticed a difference in receive. I still got that pesky alternator whine, so I'm still working on that. Don't know if I'll get to it today, but as soon as the rain quits, get a nice warm sunny day, I'll go back to work on that. I'll have to pull the battery out. And Turkey Chevy, they put a ground strap right behind the automatic braking system control valve or something like that. I can't get that out of the way, so it looks like if I remove the battery, I can pull the ground cables out just far enough, strip them, solder on, and then gluey heat shrink everything, and I get my ground strap there working, and then hopefully I get rid of that alternator whine. But I'm a little suspicious of the fuel pump. The noise is there even if I turn on the key momentarily. So one thing after another. Other than that, I've talked too much, and I'll let you go back. K6DLP.
All right, Don, very interesting in all those elements. Let's go to Gary, W6RYO.
Yeah, good morning, all. Gary, W6RYO here. Not too much going on. Want to let everybody know that the Knob Hill radio is back running on remote hams. Don't know why it went down. Don't know why it came back up. That it was dead for not the radio. I mean, I couldn't even contact on the internet. So I just noticed a couple days ago that all of a sudden it's back. So it's there if anybody wants to use it, and hopefully we'll get the long wire installed sometime, or actually maybe even to put a thought into Don's head. Maybe we actually want to move that to Sierra, since it's got such a good 6-meter antenna, and we've got some places to string a nice long wire. So anyway, just a thought, nothing more than that. So other than that, nothing else going on. Just getting a couple of 3 things done and attempting to get them done today. So other than that, I'm here, and everybody enjoy. So A6DD W6RYO.
Okay, Kim, K6YYL. Okay. Well, first off, how's your father doing? Okay, very good. Well, remember, it's a long, long way. It's a long, long ways from 10 meters to 6 as far as that layer is concerned. And we, as solar fluxes, have got to get up there at about 220. And then even then we have to have a blowout of the sun. Like I say, it's got to be god-awful good or god-awful bad to get to 6 meters. And we haven't had anything that bad. And the bad would create aurora, and the good would create F layer with a solar flare big enough. But these solar flares have not been Earth directed. We have had X flares, but not directed at the Earth. And even when they're directed at the Earth, it has to be polarized right to shut down all of HF and really shut it down for many hours. And then it could shoot up to 6 meters. So we haven't had any of that. And other than that, we have to wait for Spraticki in May, in the middle of May, and have Spraticki in middle of May to June, July, and to the middle of August. So none of that has happened yet. Partly because we're not at the peak of the cycle, because the butterfly effect of the sun has not completely closed yet. When it finally closes and all these sunspots are right along the equator, then there'll be more solar pop-offs will be directed at the Earth. So at this point, it doesn't like we'll see that until October and November of this year, where we see it closing. So the real peak looks like it'll be later this year or the beginning of 2025. There, Kim, go ahead. Yeah, well, here again, the solar flux was over 200, and we had a big flare that shut down HF and shoved it all the way up to 6. And, that can happen. You could have a double hump where you have and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at kind of a double hump, it appears. So we'll crawl our way back up to the next hump. And we have to have the right month of the year to peak it out. So I know it's always frustrating. That's why 6 meters can make a grown man cry. Go ahead. All right, let's go to Mark, AG6ZR.
AA6DD, AG6ZR, Mark in Upland. Interesting week on the bands last week with R3 Blackout. Went on Wednesday, and then some...
Turn your feedback down.
I listen pretty much every day to the Daily Activity Net, and the lower bands were, of course, hosed with the blackouts, but they start on 18 megahertz and then work their way up to 10 meters. Excuse me, and it's pretty interesting. And normally here some guys come in from New Zealand and Australia. They were completely missing those days, and noticed on 10 meters not a lot of Australia and New Zealand. Did hear Japanese stations in, but had a guy in all week on 18 megahertz all the way up to 24 megahertz. Didn't work too well on 10 meters, but from Ireland, north of Ireland, and he was in solid, just armchair copy all week long. So rare to hear the Europeans like that. You can comment on that, Will. I think must have been, I got to guess it was double hop, because I also heard all the guys on the eastern seaboard booming in, and talked to a couple of guys in New York State during the week, armchair copy. So thinking that was probably double hop, because the usual stations closer into me, 1,000 miles or less, were really pretty rough. And that was about it for the ham radio for the week. Built another little loop antenna on a wooden embroidery loop out of Joe Carr's great loop antenna handbook. I know all the older hams remember Joe Carr, and of course he's, as Don is well aware, he's one of the major land mobile radio guys, wrote a lot of books that I learned land mobile radio from. So that was about it, and we are supposed to have a little bit of a pickup on 19th, 20th. We're going to get a glancing blow, and should be probably in the late afternoon hours, actually, of the 19th for us. So we'll see what happens with that. Back to you, Will. AA6DD, AG6ZR.
Very good, Mark. You might use some earphones on your talkback so we don't get quite so much feedback. Rich is come and gone. Let's see if Doug is out there in 6ODF.
Hey, I don't think it was his radio. I think it's his radio, not the feedback. I squelched it and it was still there.
Yeah, it's got to be my radio, because I don't have the feedback or the talkback on.
Okay, we're hearing a howl as if you did.
How about now?
I'm still, when you talk loud, it goes away. It's when your voice is not there, we hear it, a howling.
Oh, okay. I'll have to adjust the equalizer. It's turned on.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Doug in 6ODF. Dana in 7UFT. No, we're hearing. Let's see if John might be there. W7RSO. John, AA6RF.
Yeah, AA6RF and the group. Not a whole lot of activity last week or the last few weeks. I've been getting kind of burnt out on the radio, so I left it off for a while and was taking a break, but didn't do much activity this week, with the exception of just running my whisper and collecting data and looking at the propagation stuff, but haven't been radioactive, so not much to talk about. So back to you, Will.
Okay, very good, John. John was kind enough to go to Yesu and pick my radio up and bring it. And supposedly they ship the power supply, but I keep going out there every day and no power supply yet. Let's go to Chris, KF6LEX. I don't hear Chris. John, KU6X.
All right. This is John, KU6X. Well, let's see here. Yesterday we had a reasonably good turnout at the Claremont swap meet. A lot of guys sold a lot of stuff, it turns out. And I become kind of friends with some Korean hams. There are 3 or 4 of them. Well, of course, when I put tubes out there, they all jump on those, but I got to know them quite a bit better. One of the guys I've known for a long time, his name is Jin, I forgot his call sign, but he's big on 40 meter CW. He says he wouldn't tell me how fast he goes, but he says at least, I kind of coached him. He said he's probably 25, 30 words a minute. Big on 40 CW, which was interesting to see. Really nice guy. I've known him for years and years. He was a friend of Alan Hagel down in where is it, Winnemucca, wherever it is down there, Menifee. Let's see what else. One of the guys, this Korean guys, is into hi-fi stuff. So I've got some electrostatic speakers I designed back in about 1970 to 73, somewhere around there. I'm going to bring him down from the attic, but I'm trying to find a home for these things, and he's quite interested in playing with these things. I designed this amplifier to drive those, and I designed the electrostatic speaker elements. They go down to 400 hertz. But it'll be interesting to see. He's going to come over to the house and pick them up. I'm going through my old file cabinets that I haven't been able to get to for a while, going and finding stuff that I was building and designing back in the late 60s. It's quite interesting. Back in those days, one of the hot things where people were using were small little SCRs, for timing and switching and so on. Some of the early. Oh, we had big SCRs, but even the small signal transistor size SCRs, 50s, 61s, or I forget what they were, but they had programmable SCRs where you could program the trigger voltage and stuff. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, that's it, Will. AA6CD KU6X.
Very good. Yeah, Don gave me some number of tubes and a couple of boxes, and I went through them, and half of them had no indicators on them what they were. I could kind of tell, but by the envelopes. But if they don't have nomenclature, I throw them away. But there's a whole bunch of diatrons, little diatrons. I don't know what the hell he brought those out, got them out of. They was switching for land mobile something. I don't know what they'll probably all end up in the trash eventually here. With that, is there any lateness or visitor check-ins before we go around again?
Another comment.
I'll go with a comment.
Yeah, were they little 2D21s?
They're 7-pin, little 7-pin tubes. I think they have a 5986, or I'm just making up a number, but I don't think it starts with a 2. What's the 2 number you're talking about? Maybe it is a 2.
I think it's a 2D21 Cybertron. The company I worked at my first job, we used a lot of those for controlling charging capacitors and stuff. They were very, very common, and then we went solid state, but I think it's 2D21, 7-pin tube.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's hard to read them, but yeah, I think you're probably right. That's what they are.
Alrighty, yeah, this brings back old memories.
How many do you want?
Oh, I don't need any that I can think of, but they were a pretty rugged tube, and we used them in a bridge rectifier, charging capacitors up to 450 volts with those things.
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
Anyway, I'll give you a schematic if you want to build something.
I don't think I do, but, it'd be fun to look at it anyway. All right, do we have any late missed or visitor check-ins before we go around?
November 7, Uniform Foxtrot Tango, if you can hear me.
Dana's in there.
Go ahead, Dana.
Yeah, this is Dana, N7UFT. I'm just listening in on the Santiago Peak. I don't know if anybody can hear me, but I can hear you all pretty good.
Yeah, you're coming in S9 here.
Great. Well, thank you. Just check me in for Will if you don't mind. Thank you, N7UFT.
Okay, yeah, Dana wants to be checked in there, Will. And we missed you at the swap meet yesterday, Dana, so maybe next month.
You know, John, I totally spaced it. I was going to go, but I thought the rain was going to come today, so I was trying to batten down my hatches.
Yeah, okay. Well, the last 3 swap meets at Claremont have been threatened with rain, for 3 of them, and the rain never showed up, and it was actually a pretty decent day for all 3 days. Anyway, maybe next time there, Dana.
Yeah, I thought about that, and they do it rain or shine anyway, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, then you got me sold. Sorry I missed it too because I wanted to sell some stuff. But anyway, thanks, John. N7UC.
Okay, Dana, I'll talk to you later. Back to you, Will.
All right, let's go to Jim, W86YLS.
Hey, 6DB in the net, W86YLS, Jim in Westminster again. Well, it's nice to see everybody on the good old talkback. Nice to see it working again. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, Cybertrons. Well, I have, I don't know if I have a lot of them, but I know I have a few of the 2D21s new in the box. And I don't think I've ever run across anything that they're used in, but I know they were popular. And there were all kinds of projects that used them, these timing things and some other circuits, maybe strobe circuits. But yeah, the PD21, neat little tube, and then also, John, you mentioned the little transistors that were SDRs, and the number you mentioned, I don't know, 60 something, but yeah, I have a bunch of those too. In fact, I kind of remember finding a circuit board that had a lot of those on there, and at the time I found this board, I thought it was a different transistor. And I spent a long time on soldering these things and getting them very cleanly and nicely off the board, and then realized they were SDRs, and I thought, I don't have much use for these. So I happen to have some of those around here too. I wish I could think of some project to use them in. But yeah, when you said that number, it's like, oh yeah, that's that thing I spent an inordinate amount of time on, thinking it was something else. Not too much else, so everybody have a good week. Hope you get through this next storm adequately. And yeah, it's supposed to be one of those things that maybe lingers on all the way into Wednesday, but who knows? We'll see how much rain it actually drops. But batten down the hatches and cover things up and do whatever you need for the next rain. AA6DD, WA6YOS.
Comment for Jim.
Go.
Yeah, are you ever going to be coming out this way, Jim? Oh, I'd like to have you stop by.
Yeah, John. Yeah, I'm on now. Yeah, I really do want to get out your way. I want to see you for a number of reasons, and I just haven't been able to set up anything yet, and I'm kind of, you know, at the mercy of what my mother needs from me, and I'm spending more and more time, you know, doing things for her and keeping things going, so it's been a little tough, but yes, I do want to come out there.
Would you give me your email address? I've got an old one at cox.net or something, and it keeps bouncing back. I don't know if I have your latest email address.
Okay, it's my call sign, WA6YOS at juno.com.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead, Will.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking I did use one of those tubes. It's been so long ago, I think in the early 70s. To create the sweep for an oscilloscope. And the initial charge on a capacitor is quite linear, the very first part of it. It asymptotes out and is non-linear as hell, but you use the first part of it as a scope sweep. Let's go to Tom, AJ6TT. Give me those two numbers again slowly, the crystal numbers.
I may or may not have any. There's a 10% chance. I'll look for those. You relay that to Tom.
Yeah, John says he may have about a 10% chance of having those crystals. We'll take a look. And I also have about a 10% chance of having those, and I'll take a look as well. So very good, Tom. Let's go on down to Donna in K6DLP.
Wow, you guys have outdone me today. I don't know that I can add anything to that. Great net. I'm glad we could hear everybody. I'd like to hear BIP on here sometime. I think he's in Burbank. That would be pretty cool. That'd make me tickle pink. And Gary, I'm not opposed to moving it to Sierra Peak, but we have much harsher tower antenna restrictions there. So we can talk about that after the net or whenever. And that's it for me. Back to work here on the workbench. K6DLP.
I sat all morning with BIP yesterday there, Don.
Oh, how is he doing? And why don't we hear him on 6 anymore?
Because he's out at the El Monte Airport working on a Cessna, whatever the model is above the smallest one up. He's working on a Cessna that he and a partner bought, and he kind of crashed or something, and they're trying to rebuild this thing and sell it, but probably going to make $10 an hour.
Oh man, okay. Well, that's encouraging. Hopefully we'll be able to hear him in the future.
Yeah, we spent a long time yesterday. He and his daughter's getting married, and anyway, we had a good time yesterday.
That sounds great. K6DLP.
KU6X.
Okay, let's see if Kim is still in there, no, he goes to Gary, W6RYO.
That's all right. You can forget me. It doesn't matter. Hey, why am I not hearing myself on the talkback? Oh, well. Anyway, I am transmitting, so I know it's working. Yeah, we don't need to do it now, Don. Just at some point, it was just a thought. Probably try that long wire up there. It just doesn't hear on 6 meters very well at all. So, it might just be that antenna's down in the trees. So, but we're not going to get up there for a while, so we'll figure it out. Anyway, that's about it for me. Not much else going on. Actually, I'm going to try to get a thing or two done today, but make sure they don't interfere with my nap time. So, other than that, everybody have a great week. I don't know if you enjoy the rain, but I do. So, kind of looking forward to it, even though I know it's gonna hurt Will. But I like rain. Anyway, guys, everybody enjoy, and we'll see you Wednesday, John. AA6DD in the group. Everybody enjoy. W6RYO.
Okay, Gary. Yeah, well, I guess a little light rain is going to fall. And that's okay. We're surviving all right over here. We're still paddling, still treading water, but we're still surviving. Cam, K6YYL. Okay, Kim, and keep your monitor there on the web for everybody. Mark, AG6ZR.
AA6DD in the group, AG6ZR. Still whistling?
No.
Yeah, I had the processor turned on the radio, and I use an outboard equalizer and compressor, so that was a little too much stuff. Not a whole lot else. Just one thing for Don. Don, sounds like you're on the right track there with suspecting your fuel pump motor. I think you're going to find that probably the issue. I'm sure you've come across this too. One issue with General Motors vehicles that I've had lots of problems with over the years in mobile installations is integrated bridge rectifier and voltage regulator built into the back of the alternators. That module, that thing will have one of the diodes fail and you'll get that alternator noise. So I actually had to go to a couple of those myself in vehicles, but luckily my past employer had a fleet maintenance group, so I could easily get them to fix the problem. But that's about it for me, Will. I don't know if anybody else just had this experience, but I had Gary on the talkback sounding
down in the noise somewhat, and on my Kenwood he was perfect as always. So I don't know if that. I'd be interested to know if that was the case, because maybe I've got an antenna problem on my little VHF radio. That's it for me, Will. A60D, AG6 radar.
Any comments?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I'll look into that on the back of the alternator.
Okay. Let's go to Dana in 7UFT.
Can you copy Will there, Dana, in 7UFT KU6X?
Yeah, this is Dana again. I don't know if you can hear me, but nothing new to report. I was curious, don't we have the T-Hunt coming up in April?
Dana's asking about the T-Hunt in April.
Yeah, it should be the first weekend in April.
First weekend in April.
Okay. And do we determine who's going to be the hider? I know there's a couple people who are interested, but I can't remember. It was too long ago.
He was wondering if who the, I guess the rabbit's going to be.
I'll probably be the rabbit.
Probably will.
Okay, yeah, I can hear him on the remote, but thank you there, John. Okay, I just wanted to know who's going to be doing it. So thank you very much. And 7UFT.
Do you have a 440 rig there, Dana? Can you listen to the talkback frequency at 447.88 with anything, or are you too shielded to Santiago Peak from where you live?
Yeah, John, he can hear it. He said he had a remote.
Okay, alrighty. I guess that's it. I don't know why Dana can't hear me now. Anyway, that's go ahead, Will.
I heard you, John. Sorry about that.
It's John's turn, AA6RF.
Yeah, AA6RF. Yeah, when we were going around, I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I did find out something kind of interesting. The Whisper program, or the FT8 program, the WSJT program, they've got a thing called calibration, and I clicked on that, and it dials in a WWV, and it uses that for reference, and then it checks the calibration of your of my 7700, and I was really happy. It was only off a half a cycle, and you can see the drift. The drift as it goes along minute by minute or whatever, it only drifted a couple tenths of a cycle. So I was really impressed how the program worked, and it actually checked my ICOM 7700 using WWV as the reference frequency. So that was something I found out that I was kind of happy about, and you could check it on whatever band you wanted, 2.5, 5, 10, 20, 15, or whatever whatever WWV was coming in at the time. So that's about it. Well, I'll let you continue, and thanks for the net.
Okay. Well, something weird on physics is I watched a couple of programs on time crystals, and I don't know if they take a composite of nickel and iron strip, and then they bombard it with microwave, and then they look through it with X-ray at the same time. And what I see is like standing waves in the X-ray, and they shift. They sit there and they like shift a distance and then come back up, and then shift a distance and come back up. And they call it a time crystal in physics, and said it was theoretically an idea that this particular Nobel Prize physicist came up with a few years ago. But this was the first time they were able to do a time crystal in reality, to make a time crystal. And anyway, I'm not sure what's so special about it. Anyway, it's an interesting phenomenon. Nobody had any idea of how it could be practically used for something, but maybe it can. Maybe, anyway, has anybody seen anything on that and know anything about it?
I'll have to check it out on YouTube.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, check it out and see what you think about it. I don't have enough. Well, I just gave you as much information as I know about it. With that, AA6RF, anything else before I move on, John?
No. Actually, yeah, the time crystal, I don't know what they would use it for, but the crystal I have in the 7700, it's in an oven, so it keeps it pretty stable, and you can actually tell when the oven turns on, the frequency jumps quite quickly. When I say quite quickly, it jumps up 2 or 3 tenths of a cycle, where as it drifts, it's only 1/100th of a cycle, and you can slowly see it drifting. And then when the oven turns on, it jumps up, and it's a big jump. But the big jump is only 2/10 of a cycle. So it's pretty neat to see how stable the oscillator is in the 7700. And I guess you could use it on any radio. It's just that's the radio I used it on. So that's it, Will.
Hey, how stable are the crystals in these little whisper transmitters?
Well, they're supposed to be within. Okay, they have to transmit for a 2-minute period, and they're usually less than 1 cycle drift on the 2 minutes. If it's over 2.5 or 3 cycles, they're supposedly not decoding, but you want to keep it less than 2 cycles drift on a 2-minute period. And the whisper transmitter I got, it keeps it. It never comes up where it's more than 1 cycle drift, so it's pretty stable. And of course, it's the GPS gives it the base frequency, and it jumps around. But just for the 2-minute period, it's really stable. I'm surprised.
Alrighty, I'll have to whip that stuff out again and start playing around. Sounds like fun, but other things in the way. Anyway, thanks, John.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed in you, John. When you first got your whisper, you're all gung-ho on it. Like you said, you got other priorities, and it's sitting over on the side of the shelf. But one of these days, you'll put it back on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, the time crystal is something weird. They're not talking about what we normally think of as a oscillating crystal that gives us a frequency. This time crystal made out of the nickel and iron strip, and then looking at it through radar and then bombarding it with microwave is something different, and I don't understand what they're saying, because they're saying it's shifting in time and not space. So it's something weird like that. All right, let's turn it to John to tie the ribbons, KU6X.
Oh, I thought I pretty well tied things up. Okay, well, I sure appreciate Don's effort for that talk back. Like, first time I'd be able to hear Tom. I can hear him a little tiny bit if I poke the beam around, and I can tell his carrier's on, but I can't understand anything at all. And I guess that's about it. We've been spent a couple days yesterday going through drawers full of stuff to give away to swap meet, and it's amazing what kind of stuff you can find. But time to start clearing stuff out. Actually, you feel much better when you can open a drawer and not see it piled high with junk, and you can actually see at the bottom of the drawer. And you just take off 2 or 3 layers and give it away, and all of a sudden things become much nicer around the ham shack. Anyway, that's it, Will. AA60D KU6X.
Roger on all that. And any late missed visitor check-ins or relays, call signs, please.
Oh, by the way, RSO has been on 7.255 quite a bit.
Okay, very good. All right, that's good to know that John is out there on 40 meters. Anything from anybody before we skedaddle?
Yeah, Time Crystal comment. This is really weird. I'm not hearing myself at all on the talkback. Everybody else is fine. Oh, well. That's a problem I'll work on later. Yeah, sorry I walked out and got a nest in my throat or something. Yeah, I just looked up Time Crystal and found a PBS thing on YouTube. Have not heard of them. I will look at it and see what they come up with. Interesting concept. AA6DD W6RL.
Yeah, comment for Gary.
Yes.
Yeah, Gary, it must be some directional thing with it, because I hear you just fine simplex, and you were strong at the beginning on the talkback, but then all of a sudden your signal dropped, so it's got to be directional. You're just not putting out much towards Santiago, because you're coming in fine here.
Don's got his finger on something. He's messing around with Gary.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead, Don. Well,
the filter. It's the RYO filter. I knew you were going to do it there, Don, so thanks.
Oh,
I
man.
used to sell those.
I just lost another friend. What can I say? Gary, you're S7 into it, and I hear you loud and clear.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just hearing a lot of noise. There's yeah, I'm in there. Maybe I'm just overloading the front end of this receiver or something. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody enjoy. I'm going to watch the Time Crystal thing, because that would be fun to be able to manipulate time. W6RL.
Gary, I had the same problem at my house.
Interesting. Must be an inversion.
Yeah, you're real noisy and weak.
It's the time conversion, the time crystal.
This is very bizarre.
Very. I'm putting out full power, no SWR, so my vertical didn't mess up, and I'm not on the beam. So, this is one of those, we'll scratch our heads and go do something else. W6RL.
Yeah, you're really strange sounding on this thing.
Yeah, me too, John. I hear the same thing. I can hear him, but it's really noisy. I mean, I think it's just that filter that Don put in. It's called a noise filter. You interject with the incoming frequency, and it multiplexes, and it distorts the signal. Don was working on it. I didn't know he had it perfected yet.
Yeah, it's working really great right now.
Well, I used to sell those, but, the market fell out.
We'll see you Wednesday, Gary.
Back up again.
Really? Oh, yeah. I hear myself much better now. That is weird. Oh, I can hear it swishing in and out.
Another trip to the mountain there, Don.
Yes, Don. It's only Gary. I mean, I don't know how you perfected that. I mean, Gary, I know you know we're teasing you, but it is real. John wouldn't put the selective filter in, but it is. I mean, you hear it, so I mean, we're not just teasing you about it. It's for real.
The only thing you think, I wish you would have seen your coax at the house there.
Yeah, but the meters here would tell me there's a problem. There's some conditions or something going on. That's really bizarre. And John, the only thing that insults me is that you continually say you're not trying to insult me.
That I continue and I don't try to insult you? Well, I'm trying my best.
No, that you keep telling me you're not trying to insult me, like I didn't know that already.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, when John KU6X jumps on board, I mean, and I jump on board, and other guys jump on board. It's kind of the conspiracy that we're all gathering up against you, John. Or I mean, Gary.
Yeah, we talk about it on a different frequency there, Gary. It's about 10 kHz low on AM.
Interesting. All right, that's enough for now. I'll talk to everybody later. I'll be listening on DOT 3, W6RL.
Switch that stuff over to DOT 3 there, Gary, or Don.
Yeah, Warren.